But what happened to the people at last? What happened to people of Moses, Pharaoh, did it not happen to the people of Noah as well?
I don't know.
Despite Surah. See, they didn't gain anything. The sign was shown with, as you said, Surah. But they did not believe. The only people who believed were those magicians. The rest did not. They rejected Moses. That's why all of Egypt was destroyed gradually. First by 9 signs, and then by gradual decay in the power of pharaohs. Ultimately, there was a change of government later on. And Egypt was, in fact, commanded by different people. Pharaohs were finished. After that, nobody saw any other pharaoh. When they gradually petered out, the pharaoh and the people, Egypt changed hands. Egypt went to different hands altogether. So, you can see Surah in a way, but what actually happened was not Surah. It took them time to be drowned. For a long time, 9-10 years, were taken by Pharaoh and his people to be drowned, like Hazrat Noah's people. Then the signs which appeared later on and gradually destroyed Egypt, Pharaoh's Egypt, took the historians tell us about 200 years. No Surah. It took 200 years for Pharaoh's Egypt to be completely finished and wiped out from the face of history. After that, you only hear them and you don't see any signs except the pyramids and this and that. Everything is buried in the sand. So Surah you are talking about applies only to the Egypt's magicians. Only they are the people who accepted the Surah. And there is a reason why they should have accepted the Surah. This is the beauty of the Quran, that the Holy Quran presents the whole case and mentions it as not a true magic, but spell which is cast on eyes. Ayun al-Nase, Saharu Ayun al-Nase. They did not change anything. So if you do sihr on Ayun al-Nase, you see things which are not real. So what they saw was not real serpents. What they saw was not a python of Moses' stick. It was only the vision of people. Now, why the Egyptian magicians accepted? The secret of this lies in this statement which I have just made. Remember that in mesmerism, when you cast a spell on eyes, a person who is spellbound, he cannot kick back. It's finished. And the mesmerist knows it better than anybody else. The hypnotist knows that if you work hypnotism on somebody, he from his psychic powers, he cannot defeat it afterwards. He goes under hypnotism, and that's that. Now, why did the magicians believe in Moses? Was because they had seen him, first of all, be afraid. He started running away, went back, when he saw serpents. Then God told him, don't be afraid, so you stay. And his fear showed that he was under their spell. A man who is under somebody else's spell, when he threw the staff he broke the spell of all the people who were watching. And even the spell of the magicians who had caused that spell. Magicians know that it's impossible. In real life it cannot happen. So a man who is afraid, a man who has gone under the spell, a man who begins to see things as the magicians want him to see, suddenly he throws his staff and everything changes. So they knew it was a superpower, that is of Allah. And that is why they immediately prostrated. The surah you have noticed is because of this. But the rest of the people did not follow them. Even Pharaoh threatened them by severing their legs from and arms from different sides and so on and so forth. But in the whole story there is no surah. Verses which speak of the same thing, with slight difference, but practically they express the same thing. فَلَمَّا أَلْقَوْا سَحَرُوا أَعْيُنَ النَّاسِ وَاسْتَرْهَبُوهُمْ وَجَاءُوا بِسِحْرٍ عَظِيمٍ. فَلَمَّا أَلْقَوْا, it does not say then they changed the sticks and ropes into serpents. Not at all. فَلَمَّا أَلْقَوْا سَحَرُوا أَعْيُنَ النَّاسِ. See? So they did not change the reality of substance. And how did they do ayun nas? What did they do? In the other verse it says, قَالَ بَلْ أَلْقُوا فَإِذَا حِبَالُهُمْ وَإِصِيُّهُمْ فَإِذَا حِبَالُهُمْ وَإِصِيُّهُمْ. It doesn't say they turned into servants. It says يُخَيَّلُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ سِحْرِهِمْ أَنَّهَا تَسْعَى. They were still lying where they were. But يُخَيَّلُ بِالسِّحْرِ. يُخَيَّلُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ سِحْرِهِمْ. This is what I'm telling you. The so-called magicians, they did not do anything to the realities created by God. They remained ropes, they remained sticks, nothing changed. But the people's minds begin to see things. Takhayyul is what they created. And this is exactly what we see in mesmerism today, or hypnotism. So the sihr was hypnotism. But one on whom you work hypnotism, he can't change you. He can't change the effect of hypnotism. Sorry, what the magician saw, that when Moses threw his staff, everybody's hypnotism was gone. His as well as people's. They began to see things as they were. So that is what the Quran speaks of, and that is why they knew, the magicians, better than anyone else. It must have been God. Man cannot bring about these things. Clear?
أنا كنت أظن أنه كانت قبل هذه المعجزة مناظرة بينهم عقلية، وبالآخر جرت هذه المعجزة بينهم.
مناظرة
وقت يعني
مناظرة maybe.
أخذت وقت.
That is, I don't have any objection against any munazara at all. But this was a sort of mubahala.